Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Now, I'm sure we'll all agree that EDC is about just preparing yourself to address the challenges that you have on a daily basis. Now, not like prepping, but just having the tools that you need with you so that if you're in a certain situation, you can help that situation, whether it's for yourself or for other people. But every now and again, you find yourself in a situation where, you're just a bit bored. Whether that's traveling, whether that's at work, whether that's waiting at a train station, a bus station, wherever it is. And how do we prepare ourselves for those situations? How do we entertain ourselves? It's a question that is old as time. Now, I think in recent times, we'd all simply just reach for our mobile phones and flick through social media, binge some Moorlander EDC content. But what I thought was, is there something out there? Because, that's your high tech. What about those low tech situations? You're waiting on a train, you need to make sure that your battery stays there, or you're stuck in something and you need to make sure that you're not hitting that battery. So we're going to have a look at today 5 of my favourite low tech EDC items to help alleviate the boredom. What I'll do is, as usual, I'll turn the camera around so that we can take a closer look. Whilst I'm doing that, if you do enjoy this content at any point, please feel free to hit the like, subscribe and share. It makes a huge difference to my channel. It helps me to understand the type of content that you enjoy watching so that I can, keep making that. And also, it makes a big deal, especially for the YouTube algorithm. And if you do choose to do that, I'd certainly at this point like to thank you for doing that again. It's much appreciated. But for now, let's turn the camera around so that we can take a closer look. Okay, so the first one, which is really the OG, this is the classic passer of time, and that is a deck of cards. Now, I prefer ones that will last a little bit longer. I can't even remember if these have a name. I'll see if I can find them, but I bought these from Amazon. They were reasonably inexpensive. These are plastic playing cards, so you can pretty much do whatever you want to them. They're waterproof. When you're playing with these on away at the beach or something like that, you certainly don't need to have clean hands. If you've got suntan lotion on your hands, you can just wash these off. They're really good for that. Also good if you're shuffling quite a lot or bending your cards as you're shuffling them. They really do spring back to their original size. And I think I quite like these as well because it's black with silver for the black colours, and it's blue for the red colours. And it came in this little fancy, almost looks like a magician's kind of bag. I keep it in that mainly because I just throw this into lots of different things, and I always know where my cards are because it's got this really nice gold kind of liner at the top, but I can fold that over and put that pretty much into any pocket in a bag. What I also picked up are these. So these are from Air Deck. I saw these as part of a Kickstart, and I think these are the original 3. There might have been a 4th one or a 5th one, but these are the same. So you've got the mainly, actually if I bring these back up again, so you can see these are the rear of the cards, and then on this side you can see what the face cards look like. I'll just get these out quickly, but I'm sure you know what cards. Hopefully you understand what cards are like. I think this might be the one deck that I've never actually played with. Is it? No, I have played with this one. So all of the cards are the standard size as far as height is concerned, but for the width of them they're a lot thinner. So if you want to be able to throw these into a pack or even carry them in your pocket, these are really good for that. These as well, I think these are plastic coated. Actually, do you know what? I think they are full plastic. But they're very nice, and again, if you need to, if you're in a pinch, it's great. I think people of a certain generation, before there was the likes of Call of Duty, We all used to play things like Minesweeper and Solitaire. So having some cards with you that you can just play some Solitaire with, or even if you want to improve on some of your card tricks, you can certainly do the same with some cards as well. Now another thing, so I do find that I'm in a lot of conference centres, exhibition halls, and when I find myself in large spaces, generally I tend to play with my balls. So it depends on the situation, whether it's just simply throwing it against a wall or bouncing it. These ones, so these are similar more to a like a tennis, not a tennis ball, like a racket ball or a squash ball. These are made by Summit, and they're called the Summit Super Bounce. I find these are brilliant because you can get a good distance away from a wall to throw it at it, and they really do really well at bouncing. I'm trying to remember the film. I think it was not Tango and was it Tango and Cash? There was a Sylvester Stallone character that always had a squash ball with him, and wherever he went, he was always bouncing it off something or onto something. But yeah, so these are really good. And these, now I thought these were called space balls, but this one is called a jack attack, which I find again quite funny that any millennial nowadays will know what jacks are. I think my great granddad might have played jacks back in the day when he wasn't running around with a hoop and a stick, maybe. But yeah, so these are great. I mean, a ball's a ball, whether you're playing with just your one ball or whether you're playing with both of your balls. You can juggle them if you're in a small confined space. Ball juggling, you know, I like to think that I'm reasonably proficient at that. But again, it's great. You can just chuck these around super low key and pretty much fit into to anything. Just in case you're concerned, these balls, my balls, are 100% TSA compliant. I've certainly not had any issues getting my balls on any planes whatsoever. You just have to be careful getting your balls out on a plane. So yeah, balls. Next one is on a similar vein to my balls, and these. So the original one, so this is the original one that I've got. Some of you might recognize this, especially if you follow me on Instagram. So this is a zip chip, and it's pretty much a frisbee. So the way, hopefully if you can see it, I hope the light can get it, but it's shaped underneath, it's shaped on top as well, and then round the outside there's a recess for you to put your finger in. So imagine you're skimming a stone across some water, you give it a whew, like that. And these are awesome for such a small little thing. Again, if you're on the beach or you're in a big room, just bored, these are great, and you really can throw them at a good distance. Now, I bought this zip chip. I can't remember where I got this from. I think I just saw it online. I've read a few reviews about them. I like to play frisbee. I like that kind of stuff. I play with my kids all the time. And then I found this one. So the zip chip is really quite soft and supple. It's, you know, if this hits your child's forehead, it's, you know, right, they're going to cry, but they need to grow up anyway. So this one, but whereas this one, so this is made by a French company, and I believe it's actually made in France as well. Yes, they are. So this is called a frisbeam, which pretty much is exactly the same. It's got that contour on the top and the bottom and on the sides as well. You really can again hold this and give it a good throw. This is a glow in the dark version. The main difference between the two is, other than, I mean, they're pretty much the same size. This one is very, very supple, very floppy. This one's a little bit tougher, but I find that when you're throwing them and doing different silly things with them, that you get a different kind of throw from each. You can get kind of little angles on this one, whereas this one again, it's good for throwing distances. But yeah, so these are my zip chips. I know, strictly speaking, this isn't a zip chip, this is a frisbeam, but I suppose when you think of frisbees, you go and pick up a frisbee from a store by the beach. It's not a genuine frisbee, but you know what I mean. So zip chips, these are great, and I think they're also reasonably inexpensive as well. You know, you can pick these up for a few pounds, and the fact that this will fit into any pocket, any bag, and just be there at a moment's notice for throwing around and having some fun with. I think zip chips are very, very, very cool, and yeah, good for some fun. Now, another thing that I have carried, and I've carried these for a very long time, and that is some dice. So kind of Mrs. Morlander got me into this. Mainly we went on we were on holiday. We were visiting, where were we visiting? I think we went to the Coromandel in New Zealand when I lived there. And she was reading a book called The Dice Man. So this guy was a bit of a psychopath, and all he did was he had some dice in his pocket, and he allowed the dice to make his decisions for him. Now, he got up to some really dodgy stuff, and like I say, he was a bit of a psychopath, an absolutely horrible person. But it just got me thinking, what would life be like if, you know, you always had some dice in your pocket, and just, I don't know, you're at the beach, you think, right, let's go home. Shall I have a pint before I go home? You roll the dice say, no, don't have a pint. Oh, okay, if I'm not going to have a pint, then maybe I should pick up an ice cream. The dice again, oh, actually, the dice looked favourably on that last time, so the dice said yes. It's a very simple way that I do it. So if you roll an even number is yes. If you roll an odd number is no. But there's lots of other games that you can play with dice that, again, it only takes a few seconds to Google or here on YouTube, put in dice games that you can play by yourself, and again, it's good to play with others, whether you're rolling, playing dice poker, or you know, whatever it is that you're playing. These are dice by a company called Chessex. I want to say they're a British company, but they might actually be an international company. I'm not too sure where they're from, but they make lots of these D6 dice. I believe these are the 13mm D6 dice. You can get smaller, you can get larger, you can get the different variations as far as the roundness of them is concerned as well. These are very good for rolling. They roll exceptionally well because of the curved corners, and there are probably millions of different colour combinations, whether it's the actual body of the dice or whether or not the dice, the actual numbers on there are dotted and so on. But I'm a big fan of Chessex dice and have owned quite a lot of those, and generally I always seem to have some dice on me. You know, I really enjoyed, it's that time of year when I eat a lot of hot cross buns. Shall I have another hot cross bun? The dice says yes. So yeah, dice, really, really low tech and just kind of fun to have in your pocket for lots of different games. Now, the last one, so this comes in at number 5, and this again is another very simple one, which I certainly know that I've shown off in the past. And this is just some coins. Whether you want to play guess the next, can I flip 3 heads in a row? There's lots of different styles of coins out there. These 2 coins are from Carpe Diem coins. This one is the Carpe Nocturne version. A lot of people think that I'm quite pessimistic, so I quite like the idea of rather than seize the day, seize the night. This is their Viking coin. Again, my surname comes from the Viking name for son of Loki, which I always find quite funny. Probably in the past, one of my distant relatives was just a bit of a character. This was from, where's this from? This is from Reaper Knives of England. This is a really nice one. So there's 3 skulls on the back that are hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, and then on the side they've had some hammer work. Whereas this one, this is half a crown. You know, go get yourself on eBay. There's lots of coins out there, maybe that are coins from where you live in the world that are currently out of circulation. So pick some of those up. You can pick them up really cheap. And you know, there's King George on there. But yeah, great again, just for fiddling with or doing whatever you want to do with these, just again to help to pass the time. So there's my top 5. So we've got coins, zip chips, we've got dice, we've got my balls, and then we've got playing cards. I think that is a pretty decent selection and a very simple collection. You can pick at least 3 or 4 of these up from any real kind of cheap store wherever you are, whether you're waiting in a hotel departure lounge or an airport departure lounge or even a train station. You can generally pick any of these up. Now, there are some honourable mentions, because I feel that when we're talking about low-key things to pass the time, grab yourself a book, educate yourself. For any of the millennials out there, so a book is very similar to a Kindle, but we used to use these when I went to school. This is by Patrick Moore, one of the founders of Greenpeace way back when. But yeah, so inside it's actually made from paper. Each of these pieces of paper has words printed and certain photos printed on each of these, and then when you've finished, rather than pressing a button, you just you turn the page, which allows you to read the next page's worth of words. It's a very, very old-fashioned way of doing it, but keeping your mind open and educating yourself, I think for an honourable mention, a book is always going to be there to help. The last few ones on here are real kind of fidget factors, and as EDC enthusiasts, we tend to have some of these in our pockets. This one is one of the Damascus titanium screwdrivers from Good Screw. This is just, yeah, you can sit and play with that all day. It has that real kind of fidget factor to it. This is made from titanium Damascus. It is absolutely unbelievable workmanship on this. You can spin it that way, or if you really want to try it, you can spin it that way as well. But yeah, always good if you happen to have some knife maintenance kind of stuff, spidgety, spinny, fidgety things. Put my teeth back in. And the last few on here, again, honourable mention is the fact that we generally always tend to have a knife with us. The CVV Bantam, Baby Bantam. You won't believe the amount of Zoom calls that I've been on, and I've just been doing this all the way through the calls, and then someone halfway through has gone, "Can anyone hear some weird clicking?" And it's like, okay, it's not me. The CVV Baby Bantam is such a fun little flicker. It really is kind of good for that. The joint in there is so smooth, but it is not as smooth as the CVV Elementum. This thing just is so buttery smooth, and just sitting there flicking this all day, that's good fun. Last one on here is the EDC Slice. So this is from Slice. Hopefully, if you can see there, it's a small EDC tool designed for cutting. It's got a little flipper at the top, but it is an assisted flipper, which is ridiculously fun to play with. You can play with this all day long until the cows come home. This uses a ceramic cutter on here, so it's ridiculously sharp, but there's some strange magic to it that you won't cut yourself. But at a certain angle, it's ridiculously sharp. But for those days when you just want to entertain yourself and you can't play with your balls, then you can whip out your Slice. Yeah, play with that instead. It's definitely fair to say that the advances in technology over the last 20 years has made these absolutely amazing for being able to entertain yourself in situations pretty much anywhere. Battery technology hasn't advanced at the same rate that all of the other technology is, so most phones you're lucky to get a day, maybe 2 out of them. So preparing yourself with some low-tech entertainment within your EDC, whether that's on body, zip chip, great to carry on body, dice, again, I generally always have those in my pocket, they're great. The others, I tend to carry these in a bag. If I know I'm going out, I'll just transfer them between bags. But low-tech entertainment is the future. I'll try and see if I can find links for all of these. I'll put them in the description below. Some of those may be affiliate links if you choose to use those. It just gives a small kickback to my channel. It's no extra cost to you, although I will try and see if I can find discount codes for them if I can find some. It just helps me to make content like this. But I'll leave all of those links in the description below. I'll leave some of my social media links in the description below so you can see more from me on social media. But for now, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Now, it's fair to say that over the last 20 years, the advances in technology in your pocket has just been crazy. The one thing that's possibly not been able to keep up with that, what was that weird eye thing? My dog chewed on a bee. Managed to get one in. Anyway, let's get back. Tickling me all the way through that. Tickle my fancy.